Hi, welcome back. This is lesson 3 of VQ workbook number 1. Our first word today is abstemious eating habits. And that would mean moderate in eating and drinking, which means you're not eating too much. You're not going to get fat from eating too much. So you might be eating little for different reasons. It might be for religious reasons. If you're a nun or a monk, you would eat very little. If you want to lose weight, you might be being abstemious in your eating habits because you don't want to eat too much, or just for good health, you could be eating abstemiously. Austere judge. Think of a judge like the one in the picture. We usually think of judges as being very strict and stern. So it is their demeanor that seems very strict and always kind of serious. So we could talk about people being strict in demeanor or strict in lifestyle as well. And that means you are being strict in the way you use your money usually. You're not wasting any money. You're saving on everything, skimping and saving as much as you can. Then that would be an austere lifestyle. The noun form of austere is austerity. Curtail the program. So the definition of curtail is to shorten or reduce, to bring something to an end. We also used to say curtail the tail because it kind of helped to remember the word. The idea is that if you had a lizard, and if I don't know if you've heard, if you cut off the tail of a lizard, that the lizard's tail grows back eventually. So you can imagine chopping off the tail of a lizard, and that's the idea of cutting something short. The idea is to abridge or to shorten something, and like the abridged dictionary, but there's a slight difference. When you abridge, the definition was to shorten as to reduce or make it compact or abbreviating, right? But to curtail is to cut short, as in bring something to an end early. Like you had an hour program, but you're running out of time, so you cut it down to 50 minutes. Or you bring it to an end at 50 minutes. I guess that would be more accurate to say we curtail the program after 50 minutes, and that would be the slight difference there. Eclectic research. It says from many disparate sources. A lot of kids don't know what disparate means, and it means very different. So you're using sources for your research from very different sources. For instance, well, here having a diverse kind of sources, what we're talking about. As in, you looked up some encyclopedias, but that wasn't it. You looked up some novels, maybe some song lyrics, you did some interviews. Then these are different kinds of sources, and that would be considered an eclectic research. So we can talk about different kinds of things like eclectic taste in music. That means you like all kinds of different music. And you might have an eclectic music collection as a result, right? Or you might talk about the eclectic sources in your bibliography that you write after a report. Fastidious dresser. We're talking about a dresser who is difficult to please. So dresser here is nothing special. Dresser is a person who gets dressed. We're talking about how the person likes to dress. That person is very fussy and is not easily satisfied by anything. So if you bought a gift for this person and you bought a piece of clothing, that person is probably not going to like it and more likely to return that item because that person is very fastidious about what she wears. So we can talk about fastidious taste, as in fastidious taste in art or taste in music. You might also talk about a very fastidious teacher who doesn't grade very generously. So the teacher likes to scrutinize everything, and the teacher is very difficult to please in that manner. Incongruous attire. It means not fitting. It is absurd. So anything that seems out of place would be considered incongruous. If someone is riding a horse through downtown of a city, that might seem incongruous. Wearing Indian tribal attire in the city might seem incongruous. We also talk about incongruous behavior, as in you're doing something that is not appropriate for that situation. Consider that you are laughing at a funeral. A funeral is a very solemn occasion, and one thing you're not supposed to do is tell jokes and laugh up a storm. That would be incongruous behavior. What if you're wearing a suit to the beach? That would be considered incongruous attire. Magnanimous, magnanimous priest. A magnanimous priest is generous and great-hearted. And that's based on the roots that we need to know. Magna means big, and anima means soul or mind. These are important roots, so please write them down and memorize them. Magna, you see often in many words, it means big. Anima is your soul or your mind. So we can say the anima is the heart in this case. And so the magnanimous person has a big heart, a very generous and kind heart. The noun form is magnanimity. Phenomena. Kept records of the phenomena. The definition is observable facts. Anything that you can see that happens is a phenomenon, the singular. The plural of the word is phenomena. So the word that's in your vocab list is phenomena, the plural. Please note that the singular form is spelled differently, phenomenon. The phenomenon can be any kind of strange event, a notable event, like an earthquake or a UFO sighting can be a phenomenon. So we talk about any kind of strange phenomenon or some kind of an unexpected phenomenon. Repel, insect repellent. What you see in the photo here are some common insect repellent products. You need this when you go camping, right? It is to drive away or disgust. Well, what does that mean? Well, the first one, drive away, comes from the roots here. Re is back or again, and pel is to push. So what you're doing is you're pushing back the insect when you repel the insect. But if you are the person who is offensive, like you are the insect, and what you end up doing is you repel the other people run away from you because you are disgusting them. You're a disgusting person, and so the other people get pushed back from you. Then you are repelling them. And we call those people repulsive, which is an adjective form of repel. So other pel words are listed here. Some examples like propel, a propeller propels the boat, right? It pushes it forward. Expel, you get expelled from school. That means you get pushed out of school. Or you are impelled to do something. It means you're pushed from the inside, from your moral conscience to do something. Or compelled to do something means that someone else, or usually someone else or some force, some motivation makes you want to do something. It's like impel, slightly different. Now, you don't have to learn those words now, but see how they are connected. They are all pel words. Now, there's one more item here. Repulsive behavior I mentioned, which is using the adjective form of repel, and that's when you are doing something disgusting, you are being repulsive. Subtlety, subtle humor. The definition is perceptiveness or ingenuity or delicacy. When you're being subtle about something, sometimes it's about perceptiveness, how you notice things, but usually it's more about how you show something. And in that sense, you are not obvious about it. So a subtle humor is like telling a joke, but it's not very outright funny. So no one's going to, break out laughing about it. It's not that kind of a joke. It's a very subtle humor that somebody has to kind of think about. Maybe it has allusions to some, something historical or some literature that not everyone's going to understand. Then that's a subtle humor. It's not very obvious. So we can talk about subtle smile, like the Mona Lisa. When you talk about the Mona Lisa, we often hear about the subtle smile she has. It's not like an outright smile or a laugh, but it's very subtle. Somebody might give you a subtle wink, a little bit of a wink that no one else notices is a subtle wink, and subtle hint. The noun form is subtlety. Now remember, please, that the B is silent in this word, so it's not subtle, it's subtle. Subtle smile and subtlety. Thanks for watching. That was lesson 3. If you don't have a workbook, you can buy it at Amazon.com.